TV, radio, newspapers all have some form of ROI modelling. Now, I don't think most of these ROI models are particularly robust, but at the moment there is no standardised ROI modelling that exists in social media. Some people measure things one way, some people measure things another, and I think that standardisation will create a lot more opportunities for social media marketing.
People get shocked, then they get scared, and then they recognize the opportunity once you can come back to them with a plan that gets them over their fear. And if you can do that, I think the money comes. Great ideas find money at the end of the day.
Purely because they can't measure the return on investment in the same way as they can with their traditional media. You can't put £1 million in to get £5 million out, but what really happens is the social media activity supports all of the other things that you do.
There's a big difference between the return on investment, where you're actually putting a lot of money in, whereas in social media it's about effort and engagement and the amount of time spent on it and the amount of return based on the time you spend on it, and that's a very different way of looking at it in terms of how companies focus. They have to then change their approach to managing that process and also to measuring it, because they need to have some form of measurement to be able to prove that they're actually doing something appropriate. So I think as soon as they realise that, they start to actually come into it.
Whether there's a reluctance to associate spend if you're a PR person in social media depends on you as an agency, right? If you're a traditional PR company, you can't ignore social media, and there will be lots of other people trying to get your clients to migrate over to them instead. But actually, PR people are quite often best placed to handle social media because it's not just about technology, it's about human behaviour.
They still need to figure out where that money is going to go. So what is the purpose and what's the ROI? And that's still a question we need to understand. The other thing is that they need to understand that social media has to be used in the context of all the other media they're doing, and it's working out what that is. Who does it? So who looks after your social media strategy and who executes on that is a question that all brands need to answer, and it's going to be different from brand to brand, different according to their objectives and their setup. So there are lots of questions, unanswered questions, which act as a barrier for brands to really start investing money in social media.
In a recession year, it's hard for brands to justify social media spend, but as per the financial results, the economy is picking up. I think the key things which people consider when they're thinking about spending money on social media is return on investment and how it maps onto the demographics of where they're targeting their consumers in the end. And I think that's becoming more sophisticated. So I think if you talk to PR people or advertising people in the social media space, they feel more and more comfortable with telling their clients how this will affect their core typology or their demographic and how they change that as well. And that's really just due to the fact that things have become more sophisticated. There's a lot of free tools and paid for tools that are on the market. And that's all come together with a little bit of know-how from the consultants to mean that people just feel more comfortable selling it internally.